All right, we are live. My name is Todd Cahill, and thanks so much for following me here, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram. We really thank you so much for following myself and, of course, really following the show. It's called the You vs. You Show. Me being the author of the book You vs. You, the 12 Ways to Kick Your Own Ass and Win. It's such a battle that a lot of us are facing right now in this world. And we're facing the battle of self-sabotage. We're facing the battle of more than ever, 2020 is when I really started these interviews with people that I work with, clients that we have at our Inside Out Institute. And we have an amazing guest speaker today. And she's actually a certified life coach and a certified wellness coach. And the topics have always been, since I've really done this show since early this year, even pre and then after COVID, really how to win that battle within yourself. And I just don't think there's a better topic out there right now, or really ever, that we can really discuss or talk about, maybe other than our faith and our spirituality. But even that is always the you versus you battle too. So I want to just introduce each and every one of you to our guest speaker today. Like I said, Colleen Rekers is a transformational coach. She is certified. She's also into wellness. And what's interesting about her story is she is an only child from obviously her parents, but she has 7, not 6, not 5, 7 children. And that's an amazing number, lucky 7, right? So she has 7 beautiful children. She is obviously very busy, as you can imagine. And she's not, I don't say this lightly, just a stay-at-home mom. She's a professional. She is also a great mom, great wife, but she also has a career. And she is very positioned right now to help so many people. So we want to bring Colleen on. Thanks so much for being on. Thanks so much for your graciousness to be on our show today. Could you just share a little bit about, you can share a little bit of your background, where you're from, and then we'll get into some of these great questions that I have prepared.
Yeah, so I'm from Northern California. Always lived in Northern California. I grew up as an only child to a father who was a military man and a mother who came over here. She had a wild spirit. She immigrated from Ireland when she was 18 and came over here. And so I had a wonderful childhood, but I grew up lonely. I grew up with real high expectations. I grew up always having to be the best of the best, and that led to me feeling not good enough, not worthy, never enough. And so I always felt like I needed love. I wanted love. And so I always, from childhood, I always wanted a big family, and then went through trials and tribulations through college. I went to law school. Have a almost 30-year law career, and I just realized that in having children, I had trouble having children, and then I ended up having twins and then triplets.
Oh my gosh!
And then became a single mom. And so my whole world kind of blew up, and I was like, oh my gosh, here I created this family full of love and everything like this, and I adore them and everything like this, but I didn't love myself. And so that's when I realized that I had to either step up or I was going to fail these beautiful children. And so that's really what was the turning point for me in life in trying to make a switch. And it started with small changes, just changing my health. I ended up losing 150 pounds.
Wow.
And just went on this journey of self-development to be the best person that I can be. And so I have 5 biological children. I ended up going through a divorce and had loss and grief and family alcoholism and all these other things. But I triumphed above, and I learned how to control my mind, which in fact affected my body. So everyone tends to come to me because I've lost all this weight, and I'm like, that is fabulous. I love that. But what I've gained more is my life back. The weight loss was a side effect of getting my mind straight.
Okay, so I have a lot of questions for you, and I know we have limited time. So if you don't mind, I want to do kind of like bullet questions here.
Yeah.
Not that they're not important, but I just want to get to awesome, like kind of have this flow, because this is interesting. So we're the theme tonight is like loving yourself, and that's one thing I really do well, is I truly love my body. I truly love working out. So what did it take for you? Because I know a lot of people, 33% of Americans are obese, okay, overweight. It's getting worse and worse. And for me, I can't fathom it. I don't understand, because I love being healthy. I love having muscles. I love health and wellness, but not everyone's like that. And it seemed like you weren't, obviously, in the past. So was it a day that you just looked in the mirror? Was it just a day of disgust like Jim Rohn talks about? What can you walk me through that decision that you made to lose 150 pounds, and then the massive action that followed that, which turned into habits, good habits. Walk me through that process.
Sure. So I had always struggled with weight.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I wasn't overweight as a child, I thought I was overweight. I had that
Mm-hmm.
perception. My family had weight issues, and so I just grew up with that. So then I got to a point where I was an emotional eater. So it was me at home alone. I was in survival mode, a working mom with 5 kids. I had 5 kids under 5 in diapers.
Oh my gosh.
And so it was survival mode. I just didn't take care of myself. I came last. And so then I ended up having a health scare. And because I'm an only child and my father had passed away, and my mom, was not able to help me with the children, I was like, what am I going to do if something happens to me? What is going to happen to my beautiful children? And so that was really the turning point for me, where I decided I need to step up and I need to figure it out, because the only other thing I can do is give up, and then I destroy these precious, beautiful children that I have. So I started with the first thing that I ever did was give up soda. That was the first thing. I never had healthy eating habits growing up and everything, and I drank soda. So it was just one little step led to another step, of commitment to myself, and then pouring into personal development and self-development. And then even then, years into this process, when I had lost all the weight, I still was finding that my mind, my subconscious, was sabotaging myself. So that's really when I realized, it was like the aha moment that you got to get your mind right. Your body kind of comes secondly. You need to get your mind right, and then other things come into place.
What I'm seeing is a pattern, and this is really what I learned through business, having business acumen and being an entrepreneur, is they talk about your why. Simon Sinek, great guy on YouTube, check him out. He had this huge talk years ago about the why, and then he used Apple, as the main source of the metaphor that he was using. And it's so important that we find our why. So it seems to me, correct me if I'm wrong, but it wasn't just maybe the looks, or you just looked in the mirror like, oh, I just don't look good, I'm just gonna work out. It was really because you got to this point where there was a health scare, where it scared the crap out of you. And then you also had 5 children that you were in your care, and your why got you really became purpose driven. That's really what happened, right?
Yes.
And then little by little, and a lot of people nowadays, it drives me nuts, especially in America. It's like they want everything quick. They want abs right away, but they spent 40 years, going against abs, drinking soda and sugar and carbs and everything. And all of a sudden they want the quick fix with their personal trainer, or they want the quick fix with someone like you that's a life coach. Hey, fix my life, will you? Hurry up, fix my life, okay? I'm paying you. So for you, it was kind of a going from bad habits to good habits. But how long of the process was this until it became habitual in a good way, until it really kind of flowed for you, where it was like you can't even imagine drinking soda now and going back to 150 more pounds? Like, how long was that process for you?
Probably the first year. The first year I really got it under control. And then after that, it came to, I started implementing other things. So I was always adding other things on. Then I started going to a gym regularly. Then I started to enjoy moving my body. And then, one thing after another. And I believe in balance, so I've never been like 100% rigid, all of that. I believe in balance. And so that's what I try to encourage my children to, is I want to be the best mom I can. I want to fully immerse. I don't want to sit on the sidelines anymore. I want to fully immerse and be able to do everything that I can do with them. And I have to be strong of mind, and I have to be strong of body.
Good. For me, it's the you versus you battle, is really putting your armor on, and you versus your freedom. So for instance, in the chapter of one of my books is you versus your freedom. And I really think that honestly, everyone's why, collectively 7.5 billion people on this planet, I really do feel like we're all different. We have different personalities. We have different goals, dreams, motivation. I get all that. I respect all that. But what I really believe all collectively that we want is freedom. We want the freedom of inner peace. And inner peace is like way cooler than a Lamborghini and a mansion and money. So inner peace. So how is you going through that personal growth brought you more inner peace, when obviously, I can't imagine what you went through. So here you are years ago, whatever it was, single mom, literally, with and also, people don't talk about the trauma of losing a loved one. losing someone that you
Yeah.
said I do to, and I love you, and all of a sudden now they're gone and you're pretty much left, and you're like, while you're trying to raise kids, you're lonely, you're alone, you feel like, oh, you watch these romantic comedies, you're like, why can't that just be me? And it's like all these things that the media says, that you should have. How did you get that freedom of mindset where it's like, I'm going to be okay? I'm going to focus on myself. Like, where did that power, how did you get empowered by that?
Right. So I think the first thing, I wasn't empowered. I was faking it, and I wasn't authentic. Everyone thought I was really confident, and I always came off as really confident and everything like that because that's how I survived. I was in survival mode. And so it took me a while to really get real with myself and realize that I needed to change my mind, because what was happening is I had lost all this weight, but my mind was still holding me back. It was still not allowing me to level up. It was still not allowing me to, I was still sitting on the sidelines. And so for me, it was like diving into personal development, diving into, why do I have these issues? Looking back at my childhood and through my past, my parents were amazing. They did the best that they could. But regardless, we're all programmed. We all have different experiences and different everything and baggage and emotional stuff that goes on. And I felt lost. And so it was really having to be okay just being me and being happy with me and not having to please anybody else. So it was really a lot of mind work. It was a lot of mind work.
Can you talk, so can we get a female perspective on this question? Because obviously you're a female, and females are different than males in a lot of different ways, because we're different species really. But talk to me about you versus your persona. So, now that you're obviously on the other end of that, I feel like Instagram is a lot of women that are portraying, not that men are not, but I'm just saying, even with their physical bodies, even like the millennials are portraying like, beautiful, I'm beautiful, I want your attention, give me your attention, everyone, here I am. But really, when you get to know them, they are absolutely low confidence. They're trying to get more confident, and they feel like they have to do that. They're like pressured to show their body off. And I have 2 daughters. I have a beautiful wife, and my daughter is 14, and she's on YouTube now, and she's really kind of saying, "Oh, I got more followers today." And I'm like, "Oh boy, I need to have that talk with her about the edited version of yourself compared to really loving yourself and not needing all that validation, even on social media, and of course in real life too." So can you speak from like the female perspective, if you were coaching another female and she's really kind of tied into that, that persona that really isn't real, it's just an app, it's not real, and you can edit pictures and stuff like that. What would you say to a female person to empower her to do what you did? And whether it's losing weight, whether it's maybe going through a hard breakup, but just focusing on loving herself, how beautiful she is as a female.
Yeah, I think I could so relate with that chapter in your book, because that's me taking 25, 30 pictures to find one to post or one, and I still have to fight with myself over that. I'm still critical. My self-critic is still there. But what I try to tell my daughter's 16, and then I have another daughter, 14 and 11. And what I always try to tell them to do is be grateful for what God gave you. And that's what I always go back to, is being grateful for what your body can do. So it's really sitting inside your body and being mindful and understanding how your body functions, how I'm able to walk because I've got these great legs. I'm able to do this. And it's showing self-love and gratitude for yourself is really huge. And then it's the whole compare thing. Don't compare someone else, even with a journey, people's journey with weight loss, with anything else, you compare yourself to somebody else's finish line when you're at the beginning and you want it instantaneously. Our whole world, go to the ATM, get fast food, go here, everything is instantaneous now. And so we're used to that programming. So it's all about, I think, gratitude, spending time with yourself, really diving into yourself, and working through those things to develop a strong core and a strong sense of self.
Yeah, I know for me, because we all deal with that too, like you versus your persona. I think for me, what really drives, my self-worth is that I'm not worthy. And because God made me, I'm not worthy. So if I'm meaning God made me, so I'm worthy for his love, but I'm not, I'm not worthy by myself. So if we're only just searching for our own power, we have to realize that we were created by the all-powerful. So if I can step into that power, then I'm like, oh, what did I care so much about what people thought of me, because I know what he thinks about, you know what I mean? So whether that's universe or God or anything, I mean, I personally believe in God. It's just, that's the most empowering thing, to know that without that, we are unworthy. And because we're going to keep chasing all that other substance stuff, when we don't realize that we are unconditionally loved. And it might not be even by our spouse. It might not even be by your parents. I mean, most moms are amazing, but there are some people that don't have a really great mom, okay? That's addicted to drugs and left them and abandoned them. And that's a tough situation, because your mother is supposed to be like pretty much God, you know, almost God mother, okay? And I really believe mothers are the incredible. But sometimes people don't have that great mother. So now where do they turn? Now they live a life of kind of like doing that. So I think once you get that self-awareness, that it's not just about you, but it's about understanding how powerful that you are and why you're here, and being purpose driven and why you're here for 60, 70, 80 years. I think all the critics and all the comparison, all of it's almost laughable. It's just like,
absolutely.
Keep building your Instagram, guys, while I'm living real life, going on a hike with my wife. You know, keep doing those 30, edits while I'm just going to post a picture and move on with my day. So that's obviously what you do for people. I know you do, and I know you're empowering women and men to do that. So so talk to me about a couple last things here. Then I want to talk a little bit about what you're doing now. So balance. You said something about balance, and I've heard kind of like even Tony Robbins and Gary Vaynerchuk say things that I don't agree with. I love them, but some things they say that I don't agree with. And a lot of times they say, oh, there's no such thing as balance. I got to say, from 20 years of my experience, there is. And it's kind of like a flow. And having 7 kids, can you speak on that? Like, meaning there's a time to work and there's a time to play. There's a time to relax and there's a time to rest. But you have to plan it. You can't just like work. Oh, I just started a business, babe. I'm sorry, 24/7 for the next 2 years. But I promise, after 2 years, I'll be there for you. She's gonna probably go meet someone else. That's what's gonna happen. Okay. So tell me a little bit about that word balance for you, and how you kind of compartmentalize, like being an achiever, being a mother, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, well, definitely balance has been a work in progress, because I did it really poorly before, and everything was about everybody else and not myself. So when I decided to switch that, what I ended up doing is getting up in the morning, and my non-negotiables for me are done in the morning. So I'm up at 4 a.m., I'm at the gym, I'm doing my meditation, I have my quiet time, I'm doing all my stuff that are like non-negotiables for me first thing in the morning. And then I start the kids and the work day and everything like that to go on. And then at 3 o'clock, another time, that's my time. I have an appointment with sunshine, because that's what's like fills my soul. And that's the time that I use my second meditation. I use it to fuel my body. I use it to get water, because I'm one of those people that I'll sit and work and work and work and work. And then, all of a sudden it's dinner time. So I had to make those appointments and those non-negotiables with myself. But the other thing that I do is every Sunday, I plan out my week. I have it planned out. Now, I don't totally time block, because with 7 kids, you can imagine things go all over the place. But I do have it mapped out to where I'm getting all my non-negotiables done in the morning. I try to even schedule appointments or anything like that. And then my afternoons are a little bit more fluid, just because that tends to be where the kids thing come up that aren't planned. But it's just all about planning ahead, staying on top of it. And then the other thing that I'm really trying to incorporate that's really important to me is putting down everything at night and using that evening time to have that bedtime routine and get on to that, because sleep is so important.
Yeah, you hit something really. I was listening to Rick Warren today while I was working out, and he said, if you look at like even way back years ago, the Garden of Eden, and I'm also watching Yellowstone show with Kevin Costner, and I just love Montana. I mean, Montana and Wyoming, and just being in that. You talk about meditation, you talk about being in the sun. I just love the wilderness, and I love being outside. And I think we as a country have gotten so consumed by not only commercialism, but also pavement, shopping malls and downtown. And because a lot of people are flocking to, maybe not now, like it used to. But now, like,
Right.
because I had a place in downtown Chicago, and it gets boring, even though there's millions of people there, because we really need to be connected in nature. So having
Absolutely.
that balance, and I love what someone wrote, Monica Dunbar. She wrote some good stuff there, Monica Dunbar. And I really kind of want to say that if you're not balanced and you have kids, or you have a spouse, or you have a boyfriend or girlfriend, I got to tell you, if you don't really make time for your loved ones, you're going to get to that point where you said you had a health scare, where you might have a relationship scare, a
Yep.
marriage scare, a health scare when you're not making time for your health. And hopefully you don't have to get to that point, or a cancer
Right.
scare where you're like, oh my God, okay, fine. I'll finally change. I'll finally be balanced. I'm so sorry. And maybe it's too late. So how important is it for you to not only love yourself, but by loving yourself, you do have this these boundary or this balance set, which leads to boundaries. So the last thing I want to talk about is loving yourself means you have to have boundaries when it comes to the outside world, because a lot of people are going to want your attention, even clients, even people you work with. How are you setting your boundaries because you do want balance and you do love yourself?
Yeah, I always thought it was funny because they say give the busiest person the stuff to do, because I tend to be so many people's 911, and it's like, hello, I have a career, I have a side, gig, I have this, I have kids, but I'm always of a giving heart and of service. But I have had to put boundaries down, and I've had to take time out for myself, and not have to make excuses about it. Just say, no, I'm sorry, I can't. Or I can another time, or give them, a lot of times I'm giving resources like, I can't do this, but I can do this for you. Let me do this for you. Or, everything like that, because I love to be of service to people, and it's not easy for me to shut everything down, but I have to have my non-negotiables, because if I don't take care of myself and my family, then the whole foundation of everything crumbles.
I know, and that's a scary place to be. And we don't want anyone watching this to lose a family because of a business. But I've also seen people make excuses because they're spending way too much time with their family, but that's just a kind of a comfort zone level, and they're not getting out there. So all we're saying is, time to work, rock it. So if you have 5 hours a day, or 2 hours a day for your business, or part-time opportunity, whatever it is, do it. Don't get distracted. Put your text message, whatever you got to do, focus. Then when the time's up, okay, on to the next thing. And by doing that consistently over time, I promise you, as myself a coach, just like you're going to see results. You're going to get the results that you want. So a couple last things here before we end the interview. Talk to me about your recent decision to join our institute, our Inside Out Institute, which is really a place that's a world-class organization that helps really energy healing, and has energy healing that really helps people with that through the emotion code, body code modality, and then also what you do, leadership coaching, life coaching, and then really that kind of modality as well, because you're dealing a lot with the conscious side, but also people need that subconscious side. So how has that really kind of come together for you, and how are you kind of liking all of it so far?
Yeah, it has been an amazing blessing. It truly has, because about probably 8 months ago or so, I developed a private Facebook page, The Mind and Body Way. And it was my way of saying, hey, it's not just about your body. Let's get your mind right and put those together, And so for me, when I came to you and talked to you and Emmanuel and Sarah Strizzi and all the people had recommended this great journey, I thought, how fabulous, how in line is this with me? Because I know how important the mind is. And so many people try to reach goals in their life, and they don't have the conscious and the subconscious side. They're just going at it, or, failing to take action, self-sabotaging, all kinds of things that come up, like you said, excuses that end up, making people fail. And so this institute is fabulous because you get both. You get the emotional side of the baggage and the stuff, because we all have experiences, good, bad, and indifferent, over the years, and that stuff builds up. And so you're getting both that healing, and you're getting the leadership coaching. So it's really a win-win. It's really a win-win to level you up.
Absolutely. And how important through your experience, because I think, and I say this a lot, I think people, it's so weird, because like when we're kids, we have baseball, little league coaches, gymnastics coaches, varsity basketball coaches, even in college in sports, at the end of the day, it's great, but it's just a game. But why is it people understand coaching absolutely critical to a sport? But when we get into life, it's like a game kind of in life, and nobody really, okay, I just graduated college. I asked my mom and dad for advice, but their mom and dad are like broke. They don't even love each other. One's sleeping upstairs, one's sleeping downstairs for 40 years. And we rely on our parents. And if they pass away, then who else are we? Your friend who's, chain smoker every other hour, and he or she's failing. So it's so good. And I've had a coach for 14 years. And a lot of people think I'm just so great, an achiever, beyond driven. But honestly, that's my secret, is don't tell anybody. But I've never really had an original thought, because I've always hired best people to help me, and I look good because they're teaching me privately. So how has it been for you to not only be a coach, but to have that guidance and like a guide to show you the ropes and show you the path? How is that? And what, and talk to the audience about how important that is for them.
Yeah. So I think the part of the problem, and this was for me, is I didn't have exposure to that. We grow up a lot of us grow up in a society where, okay, you go to school, you graduate from high school, then you go to college, then you get married, then you have kids, then you go out to corporate America. So you don't know that there's other stuff out there. You don't know. I mean, you grow up with coaches for baseball, for everything else, but you don't, for some people, me especially, I know some parents are different, but that just wasn't a thing. You just don't spend money on it. It wasn't a thing. So I think that we're closed mind, and I think this is why a lot of people work the corporate 8 to 5 instead of going to be an entrepreneur, because you don't know it's available. You don't know it's an option. And so I think when you realize it's an option and you stop putting up your hand and being closed to these new things because you believe that those aren't part of how life is supposed to be, and when you open yourself up to them, then great things can happen. And I think we all need a coach. I don't care what level you are, you need a coach, because you're always coming up with different ideas and different things to bounce and different techniques and different things that you've experienced. And so it's vital. It is a vital. It should be like a health practitioner or a doctor or anything else. It should be something that we have. Life is tough, and we need ways to navigate it.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And that's exactly what I've dedicated the past 20 years. And I will continue to dedicate the rest of my life to really guide people, the right people, the people that really want the help, that really deserve the help, and that really want to be held accountable for their dreams and their goals, and to be more purpose driven in their life instead of being a waste. Like my biggest nightmare is wasting my life. Like, I don't know why people are not more crazy about that, and I get it, TV, Netflix, that's cool, but like to watch that all the time, to not travel the world, to not make an impact, to not be rich and be a millionaire. Like, you're like, oh, millionaires are, no, you should want to be a millionaire because of the person that you have to become to be a millionaire. It's not about the money, but it's the person that you must become in order to have that in financial. But no, I'm happy with my 9 to 5, making $40,000 a year before taxes. It's like, come on, really? Did God create you to live the pavement life? No. Okay, but people choose it, and they open that door, but they don't realize there's a lot of bigger doors that they could open. And that's why we do this interview today, to help at least one person open their eyes to the possibilities that are out there because of our interview today. So Colleen, thank you so much for that. If you could just give us your handle, so you can follow Colleen Rekers on Facebook right there.
Yes.
What is your handle on Instagram?
It's Colleen Rekers, and then it's also my website is ColleenRekers.com.
Awesome. Well, Colleen, it's been absolutely a pleasure to have you on the
Thanks for having me, Todd.
Thanks for your energy. Thanks for your content. We really, really appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care.
All right. Thanks. Share this interview if it really added value to you. Tag some people right here on the Facebook page or the YouTube page and share it. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you.